Hi, you guys. Today I'm going to show you how to make these incredible gluten-free pumpkin cupcakes with the maple Swiss meringue buttercream. They sound like it's a lot and very complicated, but they aren't complicated at all. Look at how plush and soft the cupcakes are themselves, but when you add the maple Swiss meringue buttercream, oh my gosh, it takes it into a totally another level that is just beyond what you can imagine. So I'm here to show you how to make them, and let's get started. So in a small bowl, add cornstarch to my gluten-free all-purpose flour blend, and that just makes it like a cake flour. And then we'll also add some pumpkin pie spice, baking powder, salt, and baking soda. And we'll whisk this together to combine. And by the way, if you're ever looking for the recipe, you really don't have to worry about catching any amounts. I know I don't say amounts in my videos, but there's a reason for that, and that is because the link is always in the description box below. So now we'll start with our wet ingredients, and this is pure pumpkin, buttermilk, and vanilla. My buttermilk looks like it curdled, but that's just how buttermilk gets when it sits out, and I was letting mine sit out to come to room temperature. It's just fine. All you have to do is whisk it together. So in a large bowl or the bowl of a stand mixer, we're going to cream our butter and sugar until light and fluffy. That'll take a couple minutes. And I always like to scrape down the sides of the bowl after every addition of anything, because it just helps get everything incorporated. So you want this to be nice and light in both color and texture, just like this. And once that's done, we add in the eggs one at a time, beating just until combined after each. And there's 3 eggs total. So once the eggs are all combined, go ahead and mix it for another 20 to 30 seconds. And then we'll scrape down the sides again. And we want to alternate adding the dry and wet ingredients, beginning and ending with the dry. So there'll be 3 additions of the dry and 2 additions of the wet. And once that's all done, go ahead and mix it for another 20 to 30 seconds. Then we're going to let this sit on the counter as is for 15 minutes to hydrate the flours properly. And when the 15 minutes are up, just turn your mixer back on to low just to rehomogenize everything and knock out any air bubbles that may have formed while it's been sitting. And then all we have to do is scoop it into our muffin tins with the cupcake liners and bake at 350 Fahrenheit for 22 to 25 minutes or until it springs back when lightly touched. In the meantime, we'll make our frosting. My friends over at Primal Palette gave me this maple sugar to try out, and it is amazing, you guys. I'm going to put a link in the description box below for where you can find it, and you can see all the other amazing things that they sell. And to this, I'm also going to add some granulated sugar, as well as 8 egg whites. And we're going to put this over a saucepan that has about 1 inch of simmering water and let the sugars slowly melt, whisking it every 30 seconds or so until it registers at least 110 degrees Fahrenheit on a thermometer. Now there is another way that you can test for doneness, and I'll get to that in just a few minutes. You don't have to continuously whisk this, but you need to keep it moving so it doesn't turn into scrambled egg whites. Yuck. Nobody wants scrambled egg whites in their frosting, do they? By the way, if you want to just use all granulated sugar, that's fine. You can substitute the maple flavoring or the maple flavor with maple flavoring, about maybe a teaspoon or so, but it is a really artificial taste to it, so I would not suggest that. And I would also not suggest substituting maple syrup for the maple sugar. It's not the same. So what I'm doing now is I'm testing with my finger in between my 2 fingers to feel for sugar granules. And I also have this laser thermometer. I'll leave a link for that below if you'd like to try that out. And I'm testing for when it reaches 110 degrees. And we are just about there. Now get it on your stand mixer using the wire whisk attachment and go ahead and whip it up until it is stiff, glossy peaks. And that's basically maple meringue. And I have to say, this would be excellent on the cupcakes as well. Just this meringue as is. You could even torch it with a kitchen torch and that would be fabulous. But I'm going to take it one step further and we're going to make buttercream. So it's maple Swiss meringue buttercream. So I'm checking the bottom of the bowl and I'm feeling if it's overly hot. If it is, we want to let it continue going. But it's not. It's only slightly warm. So I'm adding my butter in a couple chunks at a time. And this is a lot of butter, so it's going to take a few minutes to add all in. And once you add the butter in, you're going to see the texture change. The consistency is going to get more soupy like it is here. Now this is sped up, so you may not be able to tell completely, but it will get soupy. It may even look curdled, but that's okay. Just keep whisking and eventually it's going to come together into a beautiful, soft, silky, smooth buttercream, just like it is now. And there it is. It's so, all these Swiss meringue, French buttercream, Italian meringue buttercreams, they are all extremely silky smooth. And that's what everybody loves about them. Now, you don't have to do this step, but I like to switch to the paddle attachment and put it on low and let it go for about 10 minutes. And that just knocks out any air bubbles. So I'm going to fill my pastry bag with this beautiful frosting. You don't have to use a pastry bag. You can just scoop it, with either a scoop, a spoon, a spatula, whatever. But I like to do swirls with a 1M tip. So that's what I'm using right now. You can also use a different tip if you'd like. And that's it, you guys. Swiss meringue buttercream frosting made with maple sugar over gluten-free pumpkin cupcakes. They're divine, you guys. I know you're going to love them. They're a lot easier to make than you would think, and they're just delicious. Perfect for fall or even Thanksgiving, which is coming up next month. Enjoy.